Hi there, November 21st. President Trump won in a landslide. I am absolutely convinced of that. I don't know how it's all going to turn out, but I'm feeling increasingly hopeful. As I said last week, my going in assumption is I am not conceding until President Trump concedes, if and when he concedes. Until then, nothing's been decided. But I feel more hopeful now because more and more evidence is coming out. Now, of course, what matters is what is done in the courts, what is done at the various states where these problems occurred. And they might have occurred everywhere, but for sure in these problems places. What's the rush, people? Don't let the Democrats on the left and the mainstream or left-wing media rush us. They have no moral credibility in that area. Look at what they've done in previous elections, and I specifically think of 2000 with Al Gore. As I said before, it took like 36, 37 days. We're not anywhere near that. For one state, Florida, to decide that election. We waited. There's no need for a transition. You know, the Democrats are saying we need to start the transition. They're trying all these games. Don't worry. No. And then in 2016, not my president, the resistance, urging electors to change their votes, recounts in various states that meant nothing, did nothing, just this constant, and of course, the whole Obamagate thing where they spied on his campaign, where they went after Michael Flynn. No. Let them say what they want. We don't have to be on the defensive about that, and I'm not going to be on the defensive. Whatever happens, a giant has been awakened. It has been awakened. The only reason all of this is coming to light, this flagrant cheating on so many different levels, is because Trump won so big that they had to, at the last minute, do stuff that is so blatantly wrong. I'm not necessarily recommending any of you follow this. What I would do, if you're a Trump supporter, is just wait, and we'll cross whatever bridge we have to cross. But I think it's important to not concede in your own mind. I'm of the belief that what we see and what we know has a big effect. Like if you think, oh, we're doomed, they've taken over. If we all believe that, that weakens us, and that gives power to them. Laugh at them and say, no, it's not over. It's not over. We're not falling for it. I think it's very, very important that we do that. Because in a way, that's like a collective prayer. Now, some of you do prayer, and I'm all for that. But I think what we really need to pray for, if we're going to pray, is for strength and for determination and for courage to do the right thing. So I could point out all the reasons why this is all suspicious, but do I really need to do that? I mean, why the rush? Oh, we got to start the transition. Really? All these people have been in government before that are on the Biden side. And we don't need to rush. There's plenty of time. Plenty of time. So, no. And why is this massive propaganda? I mean, the news services, they are actually giving us bad information. Many people pointed out the bad information that they're giving us. I mean, the facts are just wrong. So I recommend don't listen to any of it. Don't listen to any of it. One of the things I do is I pay attention if I watch a program or I read something. How do I feel? If I feel discouraged, for now anyway, I'm not watching it. So for example, I like Laura Ingraham on Fox News. I like her show because she talks a lot about the COVID, and I feel the way she feels about COVID, that we need to open up, that all this is overblown, blah, blah, blah. But when I watched her after the election, she was talking about President Trump in the kind of the past tense, like he was such a great president, we've accomplished a lot, but like it was over, and now Joe Biden's going to be president. So I will not turn on Laura Ingraham again until after January 20th. I won't, because I don't want to hear it. Now, and as far as the other shows, Lou Dobbs, by the way, he's the one exception. He is very good on Fox Business. His show is very good. I don't know if Fox Business is different than Fox News in terms of what they've been told to say. He's good. But the one I really like, and I'm finding really good sites, is Steve Bannon's Pandemic War Room. Because it's hopeful. It's how we're winning. And he talks about all these different areas and what people are doing, and it's very exciting, actually. There's so many patriots around and really good, solid citizens that are doing things to uncover this fraud. And he brings it all in, and it's I just really like it. I feel good. And I don't watch anything where I don't feel good. I just don't. So I watched the 90-minute Thursday press conference with Rudy Giuliani, Sidney Powell, and then Jenna Ellis. And these are three really, really good attorneys, really, really solid people, and they know how to present a case. So, and everything about it I liked. I actually watched it twice. Everything about it I liked. First of all, I liked where they were sort of dismissive of the press, but they also laid it out and explained what this is. This isn't all the evidence, but this is like an opening statement. And they kind of lectured the group to say, hey, okay, this is not all the evidence. But they laid out what they were going to do. So in a way, it was kind of a PR thing, which, you know, there's a PR battle, but that's not going to win the election. PR battle does not win the election. It might influence the judges. The judges are people. So the judges have to see how the American people feel. So I think that part is important. But they were just so good. And remember, they know what kind of evidence they have to have. They know what works regarding the Constitution or whatever they're doing. And they've only done 3 cases. Because there's all this bad information out there. Oh, a lot of these cases were, because other people are filing cases. But they've done 3, and I think they're going to do another 4, the 4th one. But one of the things that bothered me, and I saw one tweet on this, but then I also heard that Tucker Carlson, whom I don't watch anymore, but he was kind of snippy to Sidney Powell. He invited her on, show me more evidence, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, he was just rude to her. And then he complained about it. And you know, I have 0 patience for people like that right now. These people are fighting a battle, okay? We don't need you nitpicking and with your little ego. It's like, no. I mean, I'm done. Tucker Carlson, I'm done. I mean, how dare you pick on Sidney Powell like that when she's working hard, and she doesn't have to, I mean, she knows what she can provide to you and what she's ready to, I mean, they have a case to present. So I was just really disgusted about that. So I can go through all the different fraud reasons. Let me just say, there's so much information out there. And one of the things I'm finding out, and this is again from watching Steve Bannon, it's very interesting. There's a new tactic, which is like decertification of the votes. And this is actually not happening with the Trump legal team. This is people in these states where they can't certify. And the two low-hanging fruit are Michigan and Wisconsin. So it's fascinating to hear what's going on there. And these are just regular people. When I say regular people, they're just good, solid, patriotic citizens that saw fraud, that are working in these election commissions or whatever, and they are fighting it. And so if you get this stuff, certain ballots uncertified, it's plenty. So I'm really, for example, there's this one guy in Michigan, very impressive. And I think he was on Lou Dawes, but I listened to him on Steve Bannon. He's a former state senator, Patrick Colbeck. And his background is in engineering, cabling design for the International Space Station. And one of the things when I'm listening to people like this, that are just doing great work for our country, is I do send a little like meditative prayer and just thanking them and giving them strength, because I love these people. I love these people, okay? Listening to him, I actually went back and listened again. It's so fascinating, okay? So one of the things he talked about was, he's saying Michigan's in play, easily. And I jotted down some numbers. They have 7.8 million people who are eligible to vote in Michigan. But they have 8.1 million who voted. That's 300,000 extra votes. Well, Biden is supposedly ahead by something like 136,000 votes. And I'm guessing most of these 300,000 extra votes came from Biden. He said Michigan and Wisconsin are low-hanging fruit via this thing of decertification. And again, this is Steve Bannon and others talking, that if you can do this, it's like dominoes falling. Once you have one that turns around, then others will follow. And another thing I like about watching Steve Bannon is he talks about how courage is contagious. There's a lot of programs. So there was one in one place, Jack Bosovic, where did I write that down? Anyway, oh yeah. He live streamed this very boring kind of election commission, and then he talked about the fact that there were these two guys. One of them was a veterinarian, Dean Knudsen and Bob Spindle, solid citizens, one's a veterinarian, but they were apparently at this meeting, they were trying to change how they do the vote because they were doing a recount, and so they were changing the manual, and they just said, Wisconsin nice, but firm, they stayed there, and they just said, no, can't do that, da-da-da. They just kept plugging away. They didn't let them get away with it. And Jack Bosovic, he's from OAN, he said he live streamed it with commentary, and they got 1 million views. 1 million views. I thought, I didn't know Jack Bosovic had a live stream commentary, so I like him. He's very brave. He's a patriot, he's smart, so I'm going to find out about that. I'm not going to watch these other people. Forget it, okay? I want people who are fighting this war, because it's a war, people. It's a war. And, you know, it's encouraging other people to stand up. Let's not let them... Why should we be afraid if they dox us or whatever, okay? They can't dox everybody. It's threats. Okay, so you take precautions, but if we let ourselves give into fear about this, then they have us. There's just no way. Do not give into the fear. And what are we afraid of? What do you think they're going to do? They think they're going to come and kill us? No. Don't get those thoughts in your head. Don't even go there. Okay? Because even people who are kind of lefty, like let's say in my neighborhood, people go, oh, be careful, you know. But I have no doubt that even though I live around all these lefties, that they would protect me. They would be very upset if somebody came to attack me. No, they're good people. They just have different views. Most of these people have different views. Okay? They don't want that. So, it's exciting. Okay? I mean, these lefties were really stupid this time. Really stupid. Okay? Because the more time that goes on, the more we find out. There's a fire hose. People even from all over the world I'm listening to, they're checking data. I mean, there was some guy in, I don't know, where was it, Denmark or something? He was kind of interested in all these old people that voted, really old, and he looked and he started looking at the obituaries. And all of this information is available because this kind of stuff has gone on other places in the world. So it is good that this has come to light. It's good that it's come to light. So I'm feeling good. And I refuse, and I really encourage you to, if you are getting discouraged, ask yourself, what are you listening to? Don't listen to it. But if you're thinking, oh, things are so bad, we're losing this country, you're not helping. You are not helping with that kind of talk, okay? Just go back and read about wars. If you had a general say, oh, we're losing the war, this is happening, the other side's gonna win. I mean, seriously? Okay, get some backbone. It's your responsibility to get some backbone. These are exciting times. And again, that's another thing I like about Steve Bannon. You know, I didn't really like him that much before this, but he does a really good show. He said, this is democracy in action. People are seeing democracy in action. You know, when those people were going to these election commission meetings, just regular solid citizens. And it also made me realize that's what we've got to do on the local level, on these election boards, school boards, whatever. If you can do it, get on these boards. We need people like this on these sorts of things. Don't let other people do it. Don't let other people decide this stuff. We've got to do it. I saw, oh, let me mention this one former state senator, Patrick Colbeck. Oh man, I just love that guy. And he was talking, he saw the whole Wayne County, this is from Michigan, Board of Canvassers meeting. And here's the interesting thing. He's an engineer. He had done cabling design for the International Space Station. And you know, when you compare scientists and engineers, engineers are better. Sorry, I'm speaking as an engineer, former, I guess, but I still think like an engineer. Because when he was trying to understand what they were doing in the election, like how does the vote get tallied, how does it go, he talked to the head of like the election place where he was at in Wayne County, and the man who was in charge didn't really know. But Patrick Colbeck, he's another person I want to follow, he wanted to lay it out. He wanted to find out, okay, if you do this, then where does it go from here? It's like people don't even know what's going on. And he did that. So just like such a solid, wonderful citizen doing their job and doing it well. There's a lot of people like that out there, a lot of people. And that's what we're going to have to do. That's what we're going to have to do. So I saw a tweet this morning, and some woman had said, oh, this is how we all feel. She retweeted it, but it showed a man, or heard his voice, calling into Rush Limbaugh. And he had gone with his son to the march in Washington, but he was all choked up. And he said something like, Rush, you and President Trump are the only ones who can save this country. And he sounded so desperate. And I thought, I'm not going to like this tweet. That's not good. No. No. Never, ever give up your personal power. Don't ever say, we have to have this person. We have to have this, okay? We don't know what's supposed to happen. I mean, if you believe that there's some kind of plan. I mean, we don't know. But don't rest your, I mean, poor Rush Limbaugh, I mean, I don't know how he answered that man, but that's terrible. Okay, he's got to live his life, but he's got cancer. He's going to die at some point. Don't put that on him. You do it, sir. You do it. Don't get all choky. We don't have you. Are you kidding? Because if you have that belief, then you are closing your eyes off to all these other wonderful people who are doing things. There's a ton of us out there, okay? Don't ever say, we've got to have this person or we've got to have that person. Never, okay? We're going to fight, okay? But it's our job to put the power out there that we have to have this savior. That is wrong. That is wrong. And also, no doomsday talk. I mean, this is just my opinion, okay? But I would never, I mean, I believe in crossing bridges when you come to them. I don't believe in being blind, but I remember Tony Heller, okay? Tony Heller, really like him, but he's been taken off YouTube. I mean, why did YouTube do that? It doesn't matter. YouTube's going to go down the tube. We'll find other places. He's still going to speak. I think YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, they're going to lose with all this. But he was saying, oh, you know, I think I'm going to get shut down by YouTube. Well, you know, and then they did. And they had never shut down, to my knowledge anyway, anybody who talked against climate change alarmism. So as soon as I heard him say that, I thought, that is not good. One of the things I found is that people who are in this fight, a lot of them get very angry and discouraged. And you've got to, if you're fighting this, you've got to not go there. Take a break, get pumped up, remind yourself, be grateful, remind yourself of what you have, and then say, what can I do? How can I be strong? How can I navigate this and encourage others? And we all have our part to play. We all have our part to play. I mean, this is my part. How did this happen? A couple of years ago, I would have never imagined that I would be getting videos. And I don't know how long they'll be on YouTube. But my plan for December is to really understand all the other sites. Like I just signed on to Parler, which by the way is very interesting. The left doesn't like that the right is going on Parler. Really? Because then we can't keep them straight. I mean, that was the talk. Like, they need to hear the truth from us. Really? In other words, we're not going to be listening to their propaganda. And they find that frightening. I mean, if they're just a lefty thing and nobody's paying attention to them, we're half the country, that makes a difference. Makes a big difference. And remember, courage is contagious. I never liked, and my friends know this, and people, I never like people saying, be safe. Really? Stop. Don't even plant that seed. Like, if you're going on a trip, be safe. Stop it. Just say, have a great trip. Why even plant that like there's some danger out there? No. I mean, that's a terrible thing to say. And it's a terrible thing to say to a child, by the way. Never tell a child to be safe. What the heck does that mean? If you want to tell them something specific. Like, don't cross the street without looking both ways, put on your seatbelt, whatever. Be very specific. But just this general, be safe, what the heck does that mean? That means be timid. No. Be smart. Or I would rather say to a child, I know you'll be smart. I know you'll be on the lookout, or whatever, but never, ever put this thought that be safe, like it's dangerous out there. No. Here's another revelation that I've had in thinking about this. I used to think, you know, when I'd read about the Middle Ages, I'd read about previous times, that humans were smarter now, that humans were more advanced. You know, you'd have the witch trials, you'd have all this other stuff, and I thought, no, it's better now. No, it's just different. Not necessarily better. It is better in many, many respects. But people are still people. We still have these human brains. Is it? I mean, of course it's better. I mean, look at where I live. I mean, it's better in the sense that we make up stuff to be afraid about. We don't really have real things to be afraid about in the same way we used to. We were so busy just trying to survive. I mean, okay, sorry, but take the coronavirus. I am just like, the absurdity of this is amazing. That it's actually in the news. Even Newsmax. Donald Trump Jr. tested positive for COVID. Why is that news? Who cares who tests positive for COVID? Why is that news? Oh my God. Are people allowed to have colds or the flu? I'm kind of wanting to see somebody with a runny nose. It's like, it's not normal. We're supposed to get sick and get over it. What are we doing to people? And testing for cases. So, you know, the beach is back open and oh, I love it. So Robert and I went, Robert's my stepson. We went on Friday. I was able to do the rings, traveling rings, you know, we swing 4 times. Because last time I did 2 times and oh, I get sore right through here. But I was fine. Climbed the rope twice and did my nice flip down. Felt really good. But while I was doing the flip down, I was seeing these 4 young men who were doing chin-ups by the bar. And it turns out that they were going to go to Great Lakes because they're joining the Navy. And I said, oh, I'm an Air Force gal myself. And so I was talking to them about Great Lakes. And they said that, but first they're going to go to Wisconsin for 2 weeks for quarantine. And I'm thinking, this has infected the whole Western world, including the military. Seriously? They have to quarantine? You know, really what we should have done right from the get-go is just let everybody get this, particularly the young people. It doesn't even hurt them. I mean, I cannot even imagine, like when I joined the Air Force, quarantining people if they got sick. I mean, if you got sick, you went to the little hospital they had there. But that's it. You don't quarantine people. So, but then, you know, it made me think, how do you stop it? How do you stop it? Because once this fear gets up, do you see how it's just all media driven? It's like, don't tell me who has a coronavirus case, especially if they're asymptomatic or they feel a little bit sick. I mean, it's kind of important, maybe like when President Trump had it, because he really didn't feel well. It's kind of like having a mild case of pneumonia. He needed treatment. But for everybody else, so what? Why are we? First of all, why are we testing people? I refuse to be tested, okay? But people will get, I had a friend text me this morning because they were in contact with somebody at their office who had tested positive for COVID. They're supposed to quarantine for 2 weeks. Oh my God, seriously? Seriously? This is crazy, okay? So we're living in a crazy world, like the Middle Ages, dumb, okay? This is insane, and you need to, it's like sometimes you get caught up with this, you know, you keep hearing it, so it sort of starts to feel normal after a while. But it's like you gotta go back to first principles. Just go back to a year ago and say, really? We're doing this? So let me tell you, like I'm the expert, whatever. It's the coronavirus stuff and climate alarmism. Climate alarmism, I think the whole thing about the climate kind of because it's science. It kind of intimidates people. But trust me, people, trust me. I spent so much time looking into this, and so many others have. Okay, it's just as bogus. I mean, when I say bogus, there might be some warmth, okay? But we've done this many, many times in the past. We can't conclusively show that it's due to an increase in carbon dioxide emissions because we've never seen a correlation with that in the past. It's not a problem. They make it into a problem, okay? They make it into a problem because it's a means of control. That's all. It's a means of control. That by that way, and then with the coronavirus, oh my God, shutting down businesses. That is just horrific. And yet all these corporations, the big corporations, they're making a lot of money, but they're shutting down and making people dependent and afraid and dependent on the government. It's hurting the middle and working class. That's another reason why I can't and I refuse to even have the thought of old demented dude, demented pervert dude, as president. Because, okay, we really have to, no. Because President Trump was on to both of these things. He really is. And he's cleaning up. I actually think, because here's another thing to remember, the Trump legal team, plus all these patriots doing work and people finding all this stuff and fighting it at the local level. I believe we're going to win this, but we also have to believe that we're going to win this. But we're not going to get crushed, okay? Huge numbers of people have awakened with this. There's a reason we have had President Trump and we'll have President Trump. I mean, I love that guy. Look what he did with the drug prices. No, I'm not into drugs, but for people that have to have the insulin and all that stuff, their prices have dropped. He took on the pharmaceutical company, and he found an innovative way to do it by using the most favored nation status. I mean, who would have ever thought of that? Oh, I love this man. So, let me mention something about the masks. I thought a lot about the masks because a lot of people are wearing them outside. I thought, really? This is cold and flu season, people. Although I don't know anybody with a cold, anybody with the flu. So what is going on? And when I see younger people wearing a mask outside, it's like they're so easily manipulated. Or they just think that they're supposed to do it. There were even a couple people at the beach wearing it. And I'm like, it just looks so absurd. But one of the things I'm doing is I remember a trick that my late husband Harold had, or I would say that he'd have it. If he had difficulties with a person, like when he was at Hughes when it was a big company and he could do this, what would he say? That person was just off his radar screen. It's like they weren't there. He didn't see them. So I decided, I mean, I live in a beautiful neighborhood. I actually have a very wonderful life. All of this, if I'm upset, it's just mental. It's not really anything to do with my environment. So I just decided, I'm driving by and I see a Biden, sign or whatever. It just doesn't exist for me anymore. It's off my radar screen. I'm not seeing it. When I'm at the park, I see people with masks. I'm not seeing it. I'm not going to see it. But I've had a lot of fun with this. A couple weeks ago, when you see somebody outside walking and running in the park, I thought, I could not put a mask on out here outdoors if somebody came up to me and said, I'll give you $1 million to go all the way to that, the end of the park and come back wearing the mask. And I thought, no, I couldn't do it. For $1 million, I could not do it. And I would not do it. And then I started thinking, well, what if it was $5 million? I thought, wow, $5 million. Chanel, what could I do with $5 million if I could just put the mask on it, you know? But then I thought, that's like prostituting yourself. Okay? Isn't that what Joe Biden did with his family, in a way? It's like, I'm going to help my family members doing all this stuff. I mean, maybe it's not the same thing, but you know what I mean? It's like, there's some things that your honor and your integrity will not allow you to do. And so I won't do it, really, for any amount of money. No. I'm not wearing a mask outside. It violates everything that's important to me. If it ever comes to where, you know, I get fined or whatever, I'll figure it out. I'll figure out how to get around it or what to do or pay the fine. But I am not going to comply. Just not. Our governor, Gavin Newsom, he's such an idiot. I mean, people aren't even following his edicts anymore, and they shouldn't. And there's still hope that we can get him recalled. It's been done in California before. So let me, I had a friend text me this, because this is about the electric cars. By the way, okay, I know a lot of you like Elon Musk, but it really bothers me that Tesla gets money from other car companies in some kind of credit thing, I forget what it's called. But they actually get money. That's part of their profit. Because, you know, it's like climate credits or whatever. Because they're an electric car. And so really what that is that is working class people who have internal combustion engines are giving money to rich people, companies like Tesla, to have electric cars. But anyway, a lot of people went to Vandenberg, which is by Santa Barbara, to see SpaceX launch. Now, if you launch from Vandenberg, that means whatever you're launching, it's in a polar orbit, meaning it goes like pole to pole. Because you don't launch from Vandenberg if you're going to be in like a sort of more equatorial orbit. So I don't know exactly what they were launching, but there is a SpaceX launch. But this is what my friend said. His friend texted him. Friends drove to Vandenberg to see SpaceX launch today. That's today, Saturday. Thought you would get a laugh out of their predicament. And he's quoting him. It seems everyone decided to drive their Tesla to the SpaceX launch today, and now everyone needs to charge their vehicle. We are in Bolton at a supercharger, and there were 27 Teslas in front of us when we got in line for 1 hour, 20 minutes ago. We have never seen it like this before. Even last year on Thanksgiving Day, we didn't have to wait this long. Electric cars will never take off. I mean, not like a launch, but take off. The charging times, forget it. It's absurd. And I was thinking, in California, they want to go to like renewable energy. Well, if renewable energy would be super expensive, like what if somebody came over and they were staying for a while and said, can I charge my electric car up? It's like, I don't want you using, because I got to pay for the electricity. That's a lot of money. I mean, why? You don't want to rely on an electric grid, but also it just takes time. You've got to sit there. And a lot of people think, oh, there's technology, we'll do it faster. But one of the things that's interesting is they mistake what you can do with information technology. There's some technologies that advance very quickly, and there's other technologies that advance very, very slowly. And batteries are one of them. So, no, not going to happen. There's no way I'll ever get an electric car. Anyway, don't be afraid. Be hopeful. Don't put doomsday thoughts in your mind. If you've got that, then work on yourself. Figure out what you're doing. And I wouldn't even pray for a particular outcome. if you're a praying sort. Pray for strength, for people to have strength. Pray for gratitude. Pray to do the right thing. But don't pray for a particular outcome. That's my view. I don't think that's a good way to go. Because we don't know what the right outcome is. We really don't. But we're going to fight this, and we're going to win this. And it'll never be over. After this, there'll be something else. There'll be something else. So I'll probably be doing these videos for a long time. Talk to you next week. And have a great Thanksgiving. I know I am. I get to be with Lindsay and the family, and it's going to be fun.